I'll try to be brief for two reasons. Firstly, it's hard to follow. I know Rich said it's hard to follow NASA. I got to follow Top Gun and Led Zeppelin and the Doors and Kawasaki, and that's pretty cool. And also, I know we're ready for lunch, so I'll try to be brief and mindful of that. Not only that, I don't know if you've noticed, there's a door that opens towards the middle or end when people are speaking. And that's when someone from the hub comes in and puts up a sign and says 10 or 5. And you're looking over, and you don't want to be that guy that said, okay, I'm not running over. So I don't want to be that guy to look, and I'm going to try to stay on point for all of you and hopefully share a good discussion. I am honored to be here, as Tim said, for the third year. It's a wonderful and intimate setting that Tim has always put together. And it is an honor because, I mean this genuinely, very intelligent people, wonderful information exchange from the presenters, everyone sitting here in the audience. It's a great, great group. I'm going to do a bait and switch. Can everyone hear me okay, by the way? I'm going to do a bait and switch to start off right away. The first bait and switch is Tim introduced me telling you I was going to talk about sharing our ideal selves, what branded content shouldn't say about the brand. I'm not going to talk about that. And I'm supposed to talk about, I guess, but where is my brand? And answer that question with how to make content that makes your brand a hero. And I'm not exactly going to talk about that either. Only because I think the notion of brand heroes is dead. I don't think there are brand heroes anymore. The way that we have traditionally defined brand heroism. Brands aren't heroes for life any longer, right? It's almost David Bowie's verse. You know, we can be heroes just for one day. And that's really what we hope to achieve today. In today's world, when you're only as good as your latest post, your tweet, your like. So what we have to do as brand marketers, and this is what we're going to talk about as it relates to branded content, is seed to the notion that our media are the users, right? Our media are the users of our branded content. And understand that we have to do everything that we can to get them to like, to snap, to chat, to brag, to share our content so it lives on and on and on as part of their lives. Our brand becomes their life. Rich, I think, mentioned that in his presentation, that the brand really, to the users, isn't the brand. It's the people and whatever role the brand plays within their lives. So we'll start off with the challenge. The question is, does my branded content actually matter? And this is something that I ask our social media department all the time. To what end? You know, to what end? What are we talking about? How many eyeballs? How many people? What is this stuff really doing, right? And I'm always, the retort back is easy. Just get on the train already. It's happening. And that's right. We know today 24% of marketing budgets are spent on branded content. In surveys for this year, it was recognized that 69% of marketers said they would increase their budget on branded content. So the notion of does it actually matter? Well, it does matter because it's happening, it's real, it's alive, and it's accepted. Okay? But I don't know if the question, if we begin with, does it actually matter? I mean, we know what matters in branded content. The currency is it shared? But I think we have to ask, why is it shared first before we go forward? So we were asking this question as a society long ago. Almost 50 years ago, many of us probably know this, Ernest Dichter conducted a famous word-of-mouth study. And it was about why do people share information? And there were different subsets. You know, people talked about product involvement. They want it before Yelp or any other platforms that exist today. Want to talk about what a great product experience was, or to gain attention, or that people have inside information people sometimes have word of mouth or want to share. Want to reach out and help, show friendship, or share humor or information. Excuse me, but it all laddered in, or up rather, to the discussion that people share more so not because of the source, but because of the perception that the information is going to deliver about the sharer. And that was 50 years ago. And by the way, though, we have a lot more technology today and a lot more opportunities and a lot more platforms to share, the motivations have stayed the same. New York Times just conducted a survey this year. Why do you share content online? 62% to give people a better sense of who I am and what I care about. 78% say it lets me stay connected to the people I might not otherwise stay in touch with. So the two basic human truths from these findings are, I want to stand apart, I want people to recognize who I am, yet I also want to be connected, right? So then how does that translate over to branded content? We know why they're sharing. What about what we're trying to do here as marketers? Study this year as well. While consumers acknowledge they prefer branded content to traditional ads, they're still hesitant to share it. We see breaks down elder segment, 31 to 50. I'm already on the other side of that. 18%, only 18% say that they'll share a post from one of their favorite brands or the social network. And it becomes more dismal the younger the demo is, and it gives us a bigger challenge as brand marketers for tomorrow, next year, and the years after that. Hesitant to share even the brands that they love, okay? So here's the deal, though. It balances against their motivation about the perception thing, right? So they may not be willing or say they'd be willing to share branded content. However, consumers, shoppers, people say that they will share information if it makes them look funny or smart or interesting. And our takeaway from this is that quality always trumps source, right? So we have to keep this in mind when we're talking about, in our offices, how are we going to get this branded content out? What is the hierarchy? What do we have to pay attention to most if we're going to deliver on the expectation that we're going to get the currency, which is that this branded content is going to be shared? Puts us in a little bit of a dilemma, of course. We don't know the balance. Are we making content with strong branding and risk seeming salesy or uncool? My spidey senses are saying you should use Cottonelle toilet paper and flushable wipes. And we have Cottonelle in the cement canyons of Manhattan, I guess.
Please tell me that's not real.
Well, it's real. It's real. And it was probably created with the best intentions, right? And, you know, it's fun. I mean, we've got toilet paper flying around, but it feels very branded. And I don't know what the motivation of what it says about the funny, smart, thoughtful, et cetera thing. What it says about someone who's going to share the toilet paper flying, unless it was like a high schooler that used to TP people's homes when they were younger. The other side of the coin is, you know, we can make cool or relevant content, but we could risk losing brand salience. So some dream about it, some talk about it, and others genetically modify their face to become a sports car driving tiger about it. Which brand created this post? What? Old Spice. Now, I don't know how the hell you got that right, but I mean, are you the Old Spice social content branded person? No? It's great. It looks cool. I don't know exactly what it has to do with Old Spice. And again, I don't know what it says about the person who's sharing it. It says cool, but I don't know if we get any information about Old Spice out with that. So what we're trying to achieve, or what we have to be aware of as we're developing branded content, is this union, right? We have to have content that people like and brand salient content. And when we get those two together, we achieve what we'll call the holy grail of branded content, right? Development, which is true content relevance. And that's what we're looking for today. So how do we achieve that? Really three simple tenets, okay? And what I like about this, before we go into it, and some of the presentations already touched upon this, it's the Lombardi dichotomy that was shared in that one presentation, is that it is a great time to be a marketer. I mean, we're lucky, firstly, because it's just a fantastic industry that we're in. It's fun, it's smart, it's engaging, it's measurable. We're moving goods and services and all those sorts of things, right? But from a social, scientific experiment, it's just flippin' cool, right? And the idea today that we can make our users work harder for us is fantastic. And what ends up happening is they end up doing the work that we maybe couldn't even achieve as brand marketers. Through branded content, when they share, they are helping to reinvigorate, reimagine, relaunch brands for us with credibility that we wouldn't have been able to achieve otherwise. So it's really cool. The three tips that we would touch upon for brand content relevance is number one, remember, you're responsible for two stories. The brand story people want to tell, the brand story and the story that people want to tell about themselves. Is anyone here familiar with Bombpop? Popsicles? Yeah? Well, this is the only blue chip case study we'll have. But Bombpop is a client of ours just this year, and Bombpop is a very iconic brand. Americana, really, it smacks of 1950s. It's the red, white, and blue bomb-shaped popsicle. Everyone loves it, that remembers it. But that's the deal, that remembers it. It doesn't have a lot of cool cachet today. And we did our research, and the client did a research, and together we discovered that the biggest influencers for purchase intent in this category, maybe no surprise, is tweens. But tweens they're not jiving with Bombpop, right? So we had to create branded content that was going to help tell the tween story. We know that tweens are in that precipice right now when they want to dip their toe in the water of individuality, but in the safe context of what other tweens are doing. So branded content was created, and it was fun for them, right? It was, Houston, we have zero probs. This rocket is ready to fly. Bobbing for apples, been there, done that. They're bobbing for bomb pops. We saw that we had cool content for teens that delivered 2.8 million interactions in 10 months. We monitored the messages that were going on with tweens, and from tweens, 8% of messages had purchase intent. I don't know why this isn't working. Whoops. And we saw a 23% year-over-year sales growth. We created original content. We worked with tween YouTube celebrities co-creating content. We appropriated memes that were accepted and sort of popular within the tween culture. Does anyone know what the T-Rex meme movement is? No one? Not even Old Spice? What? I'm looking for you to get everything, right? It's a whole funny series of what the T-Rex can't do, right? Poor T-Rex can't even bomb pop. Sigh, Jurassic World, hashtag bomb pop. And it's all about what T-Rex can't do with such short arms. Maybe that's why T-Rex went extinct. He couldn't eat the bomb pops. I don't know. Another example of being able to tell a brand story and the story people want to tell about themselves. Everyone knows this, of course. Probably one of the most, if not the most popular branded content movements over the last year, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. 489% increase in donations following the campaign, and 2.4 million tagged videos on Facebook. The story, the branded story, of course, was about ALS. And traditionally, that would have been told in a sort of a tug your heartstring, a little bit bland, telling you about the disease and what are the implications, et cetera, right? But this inverted it, changed it upside down. Gave an opportunity to raise awareness on ALS, but also allowed the users to tell a story about themselves. That people that are participating in this are mindful, they're charitable, they care, but they're not too self-serious. They have fun with themselves, even in the most trying and depressing of subject matter. And also, what a great thing, encouraged the need to be able to fit into a larger community and being able to nominate other people to participate in the Ice Bucket Challenge. So again, tip number one, brand story and the story that people want to tell about themselves. Tip number two, be unafraid of having values, a strong personality or an opinion. Another classic example, we're all familiar with this one. This was Dove's Real Beauty Sketches. Anyone not familiar? Don't be shy. Okay, so we're all familiar. We know. So it was wonderful. The women sketched images of themselves, and then we had professional sketch artists come and create an image of what he or she thought that the woman looked like, and it was significantly more beautiful. And it was a wonderful story about body positivity, right? It could have been branded content about Dove and soap and moisturizer, how it feels good on your skin and makes you look a little bit better. But it wasn't that. It went deeper than that. It was about opinions and values and perception and higher benefits and what we want to attend Dove with. And it was wildly successful. We saw 166 million YouTube viewers, 4.6 billion media impressions, 1 in 10 Facebook users reached it, and 60% sales growth since the brand launched. So again, it was content with social value. The other side of the coin is having values doesn't always have to be higher values or be moralistic. Sometimes it's just putting a stake in the ground. Anyone familiar with Chubbies? Yeah? So Chubbies is a company founded by 2 fraternity brothers dedicated to the bro life. I'm not a bro. I live in a house of 4 girls, but I get it. It seems pretty cool, and it's actually working wonderfully. To us, pants are a necessary evil, built for the work week because your boss just doesn't get it. We don't do pants. We don't do cargos. We don't do capris. We do shorts and only shorts. It's time to take the plunge and join the shorts revolution. Your thighs will thank you.
Let's talk about the kind of chubbies that pop up when you Google chubbies. With safe search on, baby. The kind of PowerPoint seasoned sitting love to the camera making mountain top tai chi punching classic photo shoot crushing blade wearing speed demon crisscross applesauce knick-knack patty whack give a dog a bone 1 2 skip to my wait a minute. Well, hello there, little lady. Now here with the shimmy. This way, darling, and back to the narration. Tower flipping, power matching, more important, little bit of misdirection. My tie sipping, keep on giggling, mullet flipping. Oh, did you think these were cigarettes? It's my taco. Don't close your eyes. Foot race against supermodels having coconut booty cup wearing wolf cry to the unicorn boom hearing. Taco eating, raging street bonfire jumping, roof running, Nerf football chucking off a mother and mountain kind of chubbies. Let's talk about chubby shorts. Chubby, radical shorts. Radical man.
Well, a far cry from Dove and ALS. However, a lot of smiles and laughter, of course, and it's working, right? The story that the people that, and these videos are all over, and people that want to live that bro culture and want that story to be attended to their personality, their own personal brand, are using it and sharing it. We see 1.5 million views. This is very interesting. 6,300 shares, 1,900 comments, and 1 million anticipated sales on July 4th alone. All right? Chubbies. Finally, tip number 3. Think about your brand as a creative vehicle, not as product placement. And I apologize for the pun, but really, when I look at this, I think of product play, P-L-A-Y-sment. Placement, something like that. Those of us who have been in marketing long enough know that one of the cardinal rules was if you had a food client or you were a food manufacturer and you're marketing, you never play with the food. You don't touch it. You don't do anything that's going to show it in any way that other than in the most pristine way that you want it to be projected. It's changed because, again, we're about entertainment, we're about fun, we're about creativity. And so this is a wonderful example of a brand, Old El Paso, been around a long time. Great brand. I don't know the passion it engendered, great brand, right? But Old El Paso rolled out a new product, and it was about cheese shells. And wonderful opportunity to use branded content to be able to engender share. So they partnered, for instance, with BuzzFeed, and if you see, all the different, I don't know if you could read all the different links, but this one, 15 cheese lovers get blasted with cheese in slow motion. Do you like cheese? Sure, but do you like cheese enough to know obscure facts about it? These people did. Get cheesy with Old El Paso. 298,000 views, 7% sales lift, $50 million brand exposures, and this one, 6 earned views for every 10 seed views, right? So, in conclusion, I don't mean to be too reductive when we just talk about simple things, that it's about balance, making human-centered content without losing your brand identity. But it really goes back to probably what should be intuitive to all of us as marketers. It's recognizing perception, storytelling, how we want to be perceived. It's really even goes back to old feature benefit ad copy. And put it back a little bit further, I think it really goes back to how we initiate conversations even as young school children. Hey, did you hear Johnny kiss Betty under the swing set? Pass it on. That's what we want to do. Pass it on, right? So there are 3 simple things to achieve this balance. And I would tell you, 2 stories, opinions, and finding the art inherent in your product. Remember, you're responsible for those stories, the brands and the one your consumer wants to tell about themselves. Be unafraid of having values, a strong personality or an opinion, virtuous or otherwise, and you'll make better content when you think of your brand as a creative vehicle, not a product placement. And I thank you for your time.